Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Conversations with Delpha and Naomi. I'm Delpha,
I'm Naomi.
and it's a new year, and we're back. And this
Yeah.
time, we're back. I don't have a cup of coffee in front of me. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, I
I've got
see your
my
mug. Your mug is
tea.
beautiful. For those of us that are listening, her mug says thankful with a heart. Very cute. Very cute. So it isn't January 15th. It's a little later, and we're okay with that. That's probably going to be part of the conversation today. Um, because I want to tell you, I've had some interesting dialogue with people around. I've heard all the things, and we're going to talk about that. How do you do all the things you want, and whether balance is a myth or not, and how do you get to where you want to be? Naomi, I literally have had several conversations of people saying, well, it's a new year, new me, new everything. And in my head, I'm thinking, that's great that you're thinking that. I'm not going to burst your bubbles, but it's, is it really a new you? And how did you pivot so quickly? Because pivoting takes time. It takes effort. You have to be mindful about it. But I hear it all the time. It's like, oh, new year, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And let's take resolutions, for example. Then they fall flat within 2 weeks, right?
Right, of course.
Yeah. And then I'm hearing the whole like, well, it's already so busy this year. It's so busy, it's so busy, it's so busy that folks are, I don't know, I feel like folks are not in balance. And I will tell you, for those listening, um, I'm going to sound a little different today. And full disclosure, I've had a loss of a good friend, and it's been hard, and it's made me really think. So if I sound slightly scatterbrained, that's because
Mm.
I am. And I figure we're recording anyway because this is authentic, and we're supposed to have authentic conversations on this podcast. So it is what it is. Um, but Naomi,
Yeah.
you taught me not too long ago, and it was an aha moment for me, that it's not about balance, it's about alignment. Can you explain that?
Oh, I was going to say, and what does that mean to you? Okay. Um, so yeah, many years ago, a lot of coaches and teachers and leaders and, blah, blah, blah. It's all about life balance, life balance, life balance. But for many years, people have talked about how it's not life balance, right? Because balance, I always think of a scale, the old fashioned scale, that things are equal. And there is no equal, it's, you talk about alignment, and to me, it's about allocation. So when I look back, December for me, I spent all month and into the first 2 weeks of January, I probably just kind of let this go, doing a real review and reflection on last year. That's a whole other podcast in itself, which was amazing. And so when I think about my 2025, right, it's not new you, new year, new me. I'm the same. Here I am. I'm the same me. But it's about reallocation for me. Again, it's like, what is important to me? And I can't reallocate, and I can't align, and I can't move forward and take action unless I know where I am in the different areas of my life, right?
Yes.
It's about like life satisfaction in all areas of my life. I mean, there's so many levels that you can go down, but like starting with a list around what's important to me. What are the facets of my life? If I were going to make a pie chart and divide my life into family, spiritual, relationships, financial, home, like what is on my pie? And where do I want to align? Where do I want to reallocate? Because I need to know where I am before I know where I'm going to go, right?
Yeah, and I look at it a little bit different, but I think it's in alignment since we're using that word
Mhm.
today. Um, my study is more about it's the energy I'm putting out being reciprocated. Am I spending more energy that I'm receiving back for whatever it is that I'm doing, whether it's work or a friendship or a collab or whatever.
Absolutely.
It really and I've had some moments. I did kind of have a sit down in December and at the beginning of the year this year too, and just kind of looked at where am I spending my energy? Is it being reciprocated
Going.
equally?
Mhm.
And if it's not being reciprocated equally, then why am I staying in this space? And does that mean that I exit or does it mean that I pull back some of my energy?
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna remember the lady's name, but I'm sure for the folks that are listening, there's the whole let them theory, let them do whatever they're gonna do. That should not affect you. And
Okay, tell
just
me
observe
more.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, so I'm gonna look it up while we're talking, but it's called the let them theory.
Mhm.
Um, and it's Mel Brooks is who I'm sorry, Mel Robbins.
Mel Ramen. Mhm.
Mel Robbins is the one that talks about this. And I remember um right after she wrote that book, the Let Them Theory, I saw her on a TikTok talking about, you know what, just let them swirl, let them do their thing, let them complain, let them talk, let them
Mhm.
be upset.
Mhm.
But it's not about them. Just let them be. It's
Yeah.
about you and
Mhm.
how are you taking care of yourself.
Mhm.
And it was really like, it was at a moment in my life where I was really just kind of thinking about, well, I want to make sure that everything's okay. And I was like, one TikTok changed my mindset.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
was this let them just be. And so for me, the alignment came into, well, is it the same amount of energy? Am I giving a lot away to people, places, and things that are
Mhm.
not going to reciprocate the same way? And if not, then I need to decide how much energy I want to spend there, if any.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like that dovetails completely with what I was talking about, like what I might want to bring in and where I want to bring my energy, right? And there's something around. Sorry, can you hear my dog? My
I
dog's
love
screaming
it.
a joy.
Yeah.
She wants to be on the podcast. I'll bring
She
her.
tries so hard. No, that's cool.
So fun. Um, so there are some things that so I'm gonna say it in just a different way with using a little bit different language, right? So let them be, right? So I have to look at exactly what you said, the energy that I'm putting in. And in December, like kind of some of what I did was that energy audit. So exactly what you're talking about, right? So my energy audit, and a lot of people talk about this, right, is sort of looking at with with people, with projects, with situations, right? With a lot of things I wanna look back on, how did I feel, right? When I'm doing my energy audit, I wanna kind of look at, well, where do I wanna put my energy, right?
Yep.
And, with people, projects, but most importantly, where has my energy felt really good? Where has it felt clunky? And where has it felt, like I not great at all? And so sometimes there's a thing, right? Like that's going on or a relationship. And what the next level for me is, okay, if this doesn't feel good, then what's next? Do I end it? Do I let it be? Do I just show up as I am without putting energy into it? Right? There's like all these different options to it, where to me it used to be more black and white. Oh, it doesn't feel good, cutting it off. Sometimes we can't do that because it's a work relationship or a family relationship or a situational relationship, right? But I don't have to be in struggle around it. I don't have to put my energy in, like you said. I don't have to. I tried that. I tried that. Now I'm just gonna let it
I
be.
like that thought of, hey, I tried it, it didn't work out.
Oh,
That's
let it
okay.
be.
And there's no beating yourself up for it. It's just another lesson learned that's
Right.
gonna fill your cup in a different way in the future. I'm I'm curious to
Yeah.
know what your thoughts are on. I can guarantee there's people are gonna hear this or they're gonna say, well, I don't have a choice.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is where I'm at and this is what I have to do. So I could study my energy. Um and I still don't have a choice. I can't exit or I can't change it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's a reality, right? Around a situation, but I can still let go of how I react to it. I can still change my reaction to it, right? I can let go of a pattern that I have around it, like pushing back, being frustrated, feeling sad, feeling so I'll talk about me specifically. So one of the patterns that I used to go into a lot in my 20s and 30s and 40s is they don't see me, they don't hear me. Like it wasn't a pushing out of anger, but like I feel unseen and unheard, you know? And so I would go into that pattern. And now, as soon as I get that feeling like they're not seeing me, they're not hearing me, I'm invisible in this room, it's a little like sort of click, click, click. Okay. And do you want to make yourself seen? Do you want to make yourself heard? Are you happy being unseen and unheard? Like, so I'm not like pushing back on it, right? I'm
Well, you're not
letting go.
swirling. It's more
I'm
than
not
not pushing
swirling
back.
it.
You're not swirling in 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 that hot mess of thought.
Yeah.
You're not expending your energy in the whole I need to be validated externally. And that's such a big deal. That's
I'm not
such a big
judging.
deal.
I'm not judging myself. And
Yeah.
then I can make the decision. Do I want to exit this? Do I want to stay here? And for me, what I realized, like part of my sort of going back and like, let's do all the things. Um, a question that I asked myself was I wanted to reflect on a lesson where I had of 2024. There are always lessons. There's a lesson right now, right? Reflecting on a lesson where I had to pause and see how something felt. And what I realized is if I feel unseen and unheard, that's on me. And so I do something because I realize I want to feel seen and heard. And as soon as I do something without a reaction, just showing up, I realize I am being seen and heard. It's all in my head. I am being seen and heard.
You know what?
Probably 75% of the time. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and it's growth. I actually um I'm in a book club. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm in a book club. And we had a meeting the other day, and one of the ladies who I freaking love, high energy, amazeballs human being, said, but Delpha's being really quiet today.
mm,
And I said, you know what? Let me address that. Yeah, I'm being quiet
yeah.
because if I'm loud and obnoxious and all the other things, that sometimes is a facade and it covers my feelings
Mm,
and protects me versus we are allowing ourselves to be really vulnerable today. And so my true authentic self tends to be really, really quiet and
mm, mhm.
not very pensive. So
Mhm.
people like, if you don't know, if you know me, you know this about me.
Mhm.
I'm generally not gonna be out and about. Generally, I'm gonna be a homebody. If
Mhm.
you think you know me,
Mhm.
what you've experienced is I'm out and about and I'm a social butterfly and all those things. But the people that actually know me know I will cocoon up. And
Mhm.
so this was a change for this person who usually sees me highly engaged, talking and kind of asking questions and all of that, versus she's kind of somber. Well, yeah, I'm in my feelings. I'm in my feelings right now. I've had stuff happen and I'm in my feelings, and this is like my more quiet, authentic self. And that's okay too. I think that's okay too. It's both ways.
It's
That
so okay. It's so okay.
yeah.
That's alignment to me. That is exactly what alignment is to me. And being in the energy of someone else that is like, what's happening here?
And you know what? I made the choice and I wasn't, let me say it this way. It's not that I was choosing not to be seen or that I was choosing to be seen a different way. I was just choosing me.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
just choosing me at that moment.
But
And
it's the
I love the call out. I love the call out because it brought dialogue to the group in a different way.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, if you really know me, then you actually know I'm not
yeah,
as social as people tend to view me. This is funny because people will say, "You're such an extrovert." I'm like, "You have no idea. I'm exhausted when I get home."
yeah. And that's alignment again. It's like sharing that piece. But I f- I do believe I have a responsibility to share that. And in my younger days, um, thinking back to like dating and stuff, right? He should just know, right? He should know. Okay, so let's come on. He should know. And the poor friend or best friend or, boyfriend was like, but how am I supposed to just know? So, my opportunity was to learn no, maybe he doesn't just know or
Yeah,
she or they. So I really applaud you because I feel it's not a responsibility, but for my own growth, I will share things like you just did in your group and say that, 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 that. Because if I want you to know me, I gotta help you know me. I mean,
yeah.
know me. Oh, that's cute. That's my hot,
No, me
my
too.
growing up name. Right? Right? Misunderstandings come up. I know we're still talking about doing all the things, but these are the things, like, these are the things that I wanna do all the things. I wanna help people know me. So, and I gotta figure out where I am on that balance scale. One coach, I was listening to, shoot, I have to think of the person's name. Maybe we can we'll put it in the notes. But she asked, us to look at how am I communicating with myself and others as a reflection of 2024? And I will give credit to that person when I find that person's name. But I thought, what? Oh, how am I communicating with myself and others? I was really focused on the others. And I liked that question because it was like, okay, how am I communicating with myself? Of course, there's the whole, am I doing it in a kind way, in an open way, in a quick way, in a slow way? You know, okay. So if you don't know a lot about me and you're on this podcast, the people who know me, Delpha knows this, I will get into the weeds. I'll be off on another tangent in a second because my brain is like, how am I communicating with myself? Bing, 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 bing. That is a way I communicate with myself that is not very efficient. And so, how do I communicate with others? Like you said, Delpha, I was like, people thought I was very sequential. I was very organized. My brain was like an outline. Are you kidding me? And then I would get upset because I would think, like, how come people don't want me to share and verbalize in this brainstorming session? Because they were like, well, she's not being herself. She's all over the place. That is how I download.
Yeah.
And And you did it. You were like, this is who I am. And I bet the people in the group were so happy. Like, I know Delpha better now. I understand her more. How did you feel when she, if you don't want to answer, like when she asked
Ah,
that question? What was the feeling that came up? Like, get away from me. I love you.
no, I became really even more introspective. I'm like, huh, am I being quiet? And I was like, yeah, I am. Why are you being quiet? You're in your feelings. Tell them you're in your feelings. It's fine. And tell them the reality is that, this is actually, you're probably going to see a lot more of this than not. And
Bravo.
and so like to do all the things, this is not a pivot for me.
Mhm.
Um, but it is a decision. And my decision is to do what is always in my heart, which is to be introspective. And while I can think fast and make decisions quickly, um, I'm gonna make more room
Mm,
for me, which means I'm not gonna expend as much energy
Love.
out there, which then is
Mhm,
going to
mhm.
translate to maybe she's more distant, maybe she's not interested, maybe she's this, she's that. Well, you know what?
Or maybe it's
I'm gonna let them think all the things because I don't need to justify my actions. And that's really how I feel about it. And that's how I felt. I felt like, you know what?
yeah,
I don't need to justify it, but I owe you an explanation because you're observing me in a way that's different than what you're used to. And
yeah.
it needs to make sense to you. So I don't want you to worry about me because it's not necessarily about that.
And I'm gonna counter that maybe it wasn't, and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
This is you in your self-worth, right? So
Yeah.
when if I justify everything, that's my another signal like, maybe I'm a little out of touch with my self-worth. Like I charge this much for my coaching session, end of sentence, or this is what I charge for a coaching session because I have 500 hours of coaching and I have 3 certifications and I ba, 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 ba. So I know now there's a time and place to say that, but it's like what you said, I'm going to respond. Who am I trying to justify this to? It's always to me. It's always to me, right? But I'm going to counter to that. You, it seems like these are people who care about you.
Yeah.
They care about you, and you care about them, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why you did this, and
Yeah.
it's
And
so beautiful.
I love what you just said about self-worth. Um,
What I say,
you, you said it is about your self-worth. You're so funny.
it's about
It is
me. Yes.
about your self-worth. And I absolutely agree. It is about your value. And again, like I'm gonna dance
Value
around
myself.
this a little bit. I'm gonna dance around this a little bit.
Okay.
You only need to articulate yourself, in my opinion, you only need to articulate your self-worth a certain number of times if people, places, or things are not valuing you based on your self-worth and the exchange of energy that you've shown,
Mhm.
you got to think about it. And you can let them do whatever they want, but you also have to make decisions for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's that whole, kind of doing all the things, right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, it goes back.
I'll say it this way, Naomi. Like people wonder, like oh, when I have folks exit my organization, I'm usually very happy for them. And
Uh-huh.
I just sit there poo-pooing their decision, and I don't sit there trying to make them feel guilty or trying to stay or any of the things. You know what? Because you made a decision for you. You had to think about it. You had to go through a process. And I respect that because you took a measure of your self-worth and made a decision for you. And people are usually like they're usually shocked that I'm not more um maybe combative or aggressive about, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I don't listen, it's your life. And I don't live it. You live it.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna let you do what you're doing because that is all the things for you.
Mhm.
Change is about getting to the place where you want to be. and maybe getting to do all the things that you want to do.
Right. That's respect, Delpha,
Yes.
to me. You are showing so much respect. It doesn't mean you're not sad or
Of course not.
disappointed but it's respect. I mean, I'm sure you know this. Um, it's happened to me a little bit, but not so much. To other people I know who have been in corporate or higher education where they want to be done and they want to leave. And then the all they hear is, "Oh my gosh, we can't do it without you. We love you so much. Like, what are we gonna do without you?" And
You
it
should have
can
thought
pull a
about
person.
that before I left. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, not
Well,
sorry.
for a certain kind of person, depending on their life purpose and their core values, and also I'll go back to, the language of positive intelligence and mental fitness, they're saboteurs. Um, This can draw a person in. And I'm not saying people are doing this intentionally, like, I'm gonna manipulate you emotionally, but, it can manipulate a person like me emotionally, and then it's like doing all the things, like, "Oh my god, why did I take on this project? Why did I say yes?" It's kind of part of, like, the pleaser in the language of mental fitness and positive intelligence, right? But then again, um it's like what you said, like respecting, but like, "I'm so sad to see you go. I loved working with you. What an opportunity for you." You can do
Yeah.
those things. That's the alignment again, without trying to consciously sometimes, and mostly I think unconsciously, manipulate another person's decision.
Well, yeah,
Emotionally.
because it affects you, and now you're not gonna receive
Oh,
the
yeah.
exchange of energy, and now you're gonna feel a little bit of a void,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah. If I had a great boss, believe me, did I cry when some of my administrators told me they were gonna go? Yes, but I saw the opportunity and I knew it would be selfish to be like, "I can't believe you're leaving me," to say stuff like that.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
and it's not selfish of them to move on either.
no.
It's not, it's fantastic. It's about doing the next thing, and sometimes the next thing is not in place, and, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what your universal divine timing is. You don't know what mine is. But then again, I also, for the people around me that care about me, I do want to hear from them. I mean, I don't want them to be silent. I mean, I don't mind somebody saying, "Have you thought this out?" Because sometimes I'm impulsive. So I can kind of go, "Yeah, I did think it
Yeah,
out. And here's my reason." And then, right? So it's doing all the things. I
but
mean,
I like that because I like it, so to me, that shows caring. The "have you
yes.
thought it through" is confirmation for them that you've invested the time and energy to make the decision that's the right decision for you. I think where it goes hokey is when somebody uses the, "Do you think you're doing the right thing?" and then go down the rabbit hole, because I think, well, it's not your life. It's not your
Yeah.
life. And so this is where respect comes back in. But so
Yeah.
let's do this because we're almost at time here, and
No.
we've been everywhere, and I'm sure people are gonna be like, "Well, why is this called do all the things?" Well, we didn't talk about doing all the things. Really, we did. And I
We did.
want you to we did. I want you guys to think about it a little bit differently. It's not about doing all the things in your bucket list or a checklist or whatever this year. It's about really knowing all the things that matter to you and then doing them anyway. So do all the things, but do all the things that matter, that are important to you, that are
Yeah.
pleasing to you, and not necessarily to the rest of the world.
Yeah. And my litmus test, I love that, is sort of that energy audit like you talked about, right? Where does my energy feel really good? I want more of that. And if my energy doesn't feel really good, like you said, when people will say, "Well, I had no choice in the matter. My boss is my boss or my family or whatever, my neighborhood." That's true. But then do the energy audit anyway. Am I expending more than I need to? And if I think about what makes me feel really good, I can bring some of that in to this situation. I can always bring some of it in, even if it's externally, even if it's only for me, I can always bring something in.
Yeah.
That's
So with that,
really good.
we wish everybody a new year. Thank you for
Yeah.
tuning in. Please follow and like. And if you find value in this podcast, please share it with a friend. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody.
Bye.